Emma, and I'm so thrilled to announce our beautiful relationship and partnership with Ready Set Dance. And sometimes you might know me as Emma Memma. I'm dressed up in bright orange and we do lots of lovely music and dancing, and that is all wonderful. But there's some wonderful developmental, educational benefits from dance. And today we're going to have a chat with some beautiful experts to tell us all about their background and some of those benefits. Jen, Nicole, nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Thanks for having us.
No, thanks for being here. Can you give us a little bit of information about your backgrounds?
I am a social worker and a parent educator and a mum to 4 boys, and I absolutely love the benefits that dance can bring for our kids. Some of the really big skills like creativity and connection and movement is so important.
So I'm an occupational therapist, mum of 2 boys, but I danced my whole life and it shaped who I was. And I think that having that background and seeing that world really brings up so much for me around what dance can do from connection point of view, from understanding how you work as a team, how you're part of a bigger group than just yourself. But then from an OT point of view, looking at all the skills that we can develop through dance and music and being in rhythm and timing with one another.
How beneficial is dance and musicality for children that are pre-verbal or might not be using spoken language as their primary language?
Important. There's been sort of a whole lot of new studies shown on the power of song, like from the minute our babies are born. Dance and music and song they're able to take in from way before they're able to take in language, because 90% of communication is non-verbal. So much of what goes in is our non-verbal communication, and we're never more clear with that than through dance, right? It's so emotional.
Isn't that amazing? 90%.
I know.
And nobody in the world is dancing day to day.
No.
Even though our children are in the best environment to be able to do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, we haven't discussed this, but I feel like our new partnership should be Ready Set Dance adults. Because I feel like we might all need this skill.
We do. We really do.
We do.
And I think also that if you're looking at what's also coming out about research and language, is a whole move towards start learning in terms of language. And that is not we learn words in isolation. It's that we learn words and communication in bigger chunks, in bigger chunks of language. They're making sense of language through bigger chunks of words, and that's song. So often I'm working with children in therapy and they're singing a song, but they're relating that song to the activity we're doing.
What you're doing.
Because they've interpreted it in a bigger picture, right? So we can use song, we can use movement, and we use a lot of expressive movement when we're trying to elicit language. And I find the emotional tone in our voice elicits language. So what comes next? What are we doing? And that's what the teachers do. And I love it. There's a lot of big expressive facial expressions, and a lot of big hand gestures. And the kids are sitting there waiting. I wonder what it is going to be. You know, and they're so enticed to listen and to be involved. And it's because it's great, big expressive things that we really need to be using in our day-to-day.
Is that building that context around what the children are acquiring? That knowledge are the expressions and the exaggeration of pitch and movement, is that helping that context?
It helps so much. Sure. So they need those gestures in order to learn language, but in order to learn about relating to others and reading those social cues, we need to exaggerate our gestures in order for kids to hear us. One of the things that parents will often say is, my child doesn't listen, which is a really common thing that gets said, and yet what it is that children hear us differently. And one of the things we need to do is exaggerate our gestures and communicate non-verbally through dance or through visuals, because that's how our kids learn and process best while their brain is still developing. So it makes a huge difference.
I mean, I'm a huge advocate for dance and a huge advocate for non-verbal communication, but mostly because we're performing or interacting with children that aren't using spoken language yet, or maybe not at all. But what support and advice do you have for parents that might be wanting to include their children in these kinds of classes, particularly with Ready Set Dance, but their child has a communication concern? And how do you navigate that?
I think the first thing is, go and approach them and have a chat and talk about it, because you'll find that it is inclusive, and you'll find that there are always modifications that we can make to make sure, or adjustments to make sure that your child, whatever that is, we can make it work. And that's the first thing I would do, is chat.
And I think what I picked up is that the ratio of class leaders to children was really good. So there were some kids that needed some more support. There were adults there to do that for them. And I think also what I found really impressive with the program is that they've got things within it to help our children that need a little bit more support. So the one thing I really loved was picture cards that go through the lesson plan, so the kids knew what to expect. And you could see kids looking and anticipating, this is what's coming next, I can manage that or I can't manage it, and then taken down. So children that struggle with transitions, they were able to get that visual input of now it's coming. And you could see some kids back off when it was something maybe they weren't as comfortable with, and then really go to the fore when they were. And allowing that transition, because you've got the visual schedule, for example, was really helpful. And I think, as Jen said, it's communication and being transparent about what a child needs.
Visual communication is huge, and it really should be something that we value in society even more.
For sure. And I think when you watch little beings move and you see how they move through the world, there doesn't have to be a right or wrong. It's how my body feels right in the world. And when we allow children to move, we're teaching them different ways to use their body, and we're getting so much more feedback into our muscles and our joints. We're getting feedback into our body awareness. And the more feedback we get into our system, the more that we use movement and deep pressure and use expansive movement patterns, the more we kind of program our body to say, hold on, I can actually use this energy in different ways. I can use my body in different ways. And through that, I can communicate. And through that, I can be expressive. And teaching parents, because it's not the child, it's teaching parents to allow that movement to be and to be expressive and to walk through the world, walking, twirling, dancing, jumping, cartwheeling, and that's okay.
Not only is it okay, but it's settling everybody's sensory systems and making them feel amazing and having a lot of fun all at the same time. Emma, I'm dying to know more about the song. Can you tell us a bit about what it's about or how it came to be?
I can tell you all of that. It's called When We Dance Together, and actually it has been a true collaboration between myself and Elvin, my co-performer, our Auslan consultant, my husband who works in our music department, and also with the whole team at Ready Set Dance. And we really wanted to go back and forth and work out what we could bring to the audience that would combine both of our worlds, and whether that's music and dance and sign language, but something that children and also dance schools could actually take on board and learn within their own environments. It is a beautiful song. I mean, I'm not going to give you a rendition. You'll have to wait. But I think something that we find within our team at MMM is how can we put the visual communication first, and how can that lead the song, or how does that lead the choreography? Because essentially all the choreography that we do is actually based through sign language principles. So we were really, really lucky to have Elvin with us on set, but also our deaf consultant was sitting with the Ready Set Dance team, actually watching the camera, seeing on the lens, are all of the visual components clear enough? Can we see the visual language? And there's one point in the song where, I mean, most of the song we're dancing and singing and signing all at the same time to give children options.
Yeah. Amazing.
So they can choose however they want to take in that song or participate in any way they feel comfortable. But there is one point where actually Elvin signs the main line on his own. And I think having that main message, can we all dance and move together and connect with each other, coming from Elvin, who may not be able to hear the music that we might be able to hear in this particular song, actually is a lovely way to start the connection. And that dance actually unites us all.
So inclusive, and everybody learns a sign language as well, which is incredible.
So I will be expecting that you both will be learning all of the choreography.
Of course.
And it is
Challenge
achievable.
accepted.
And then we'll all do it together.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us.